Hey, what's going on? We are live for Financial Fitness Friday, and today we're going to go over some savvy credit moves that you guys can make, right? Like everyone talks about building credit, but what are you doing to expand on that, right? So, what I would tell you is like these are things that you guys should be doing once a quarter, if not the latest every 6 months, right? We talk about monitoring your credit, but one of the ways that you guys can actually improve your credit is getting more of it. Okay. So if you have a line of credit every 3 to 4 months, you should be asking for an increase. Okay. If you have any type of credit card, business, personal, every 3 to 4 months, you should be asking for an increase. Why? Because as they continue to give you increases, you get more available credit, and then the balances that you carry, if you carry balances, aren't going to impact you as bad, right? This is simple. Always ask. The worst they can do is say no. You know what I mean? As long as you're not missing payments, they usually bump it up a little bit. And I'll tell you, like my Amex cards and some of my other cards, they've bumped it up without me asking, you know? So you always want to be expanding your credit, not decreasing your credit. All right. So as long as it's not costing you anything, that's fine. Keep in mind, depending on what Amex card you have, like some of them cost 700-800 bucks a year just to keep in their yearly annual fee. I realized that when I realized I had 10 Amexes at the end of 2025, and I'm like, I'm paying $8,000 a year just to have these cards.
Good tax deduction.
Dude, crazy. Crazy. I didn't realize that. I have one in my mind I got to cancel now.
Mm-hmm. Well, to touch on that, to kind of hop in here, because I actually did it. My one card, I don't travel enough like I was, right? Like if you're doing it 2, 3, 4 times, 5 times a year, to have a platinum on top of it as well. And everybody wants to flex the platinum. Like it's good if you travel a lot. Points wise, it's trash. Like you're getting 1 point per dollar.
Chase has some great ones for points.
Oh, 100%, man. Sapphire is awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Like that's such a great card, and I think it's underrated. I think because of the Amex stigma. I just came back from San Antonio, and I had the opportunity to fly out of Newark's new Terminal A, brand new. And bro, the way they have these lounges set up, Chase has an awesome lounge for Sapphire. Like they have a whole section in there dedicated to credit lounges. And dude, it's top notch. Like Chase's is top notch, but I don't want to get like too far sideways off of what we're talking about. But going back to Amex, you could downgrade this stuff, guys. Like it's all under the same account. I ditched my platinum card. I didn't see the value in the $800 fee on that. So I downgraded it to another gold. Right. And you could do that, and a lot of people don't realize that. Hey, can you downgrade? Yeah, sure. Absolutely. And the gold, actually, you get 4%. You get 4% back, what I call the essentials, food and fuel, whether you use it at a supermarket, whether you use it at a convenience store, buying food, and then fuel cost. So to me, the value, because I've been driving a lot. So the value just in that is way better than what I'm getting out of the platinum right now. And that's not to say I won't go back to the platinum either. That's a phone call away.
Dude, it depends on what you're doing, right? You gotta match your points to what you use. Like I'll give you an example. I have so many points on Delta and JetBlue, I can fly anywhere in the world. Okay. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, when I set up these cards, okay, I was in New York, and being in New York, Delta and JetBlue, you can get a direct flight anywhere. Well, guess what? Now I'm in Tampa, and it's usually Southwest or American. So my points don't align the way they used to. So once in a while, you got to change it up. And like, it depends on what you're doing with the card too. Yeah. Like Amex has one, you get a 5-to-1 on points, right? For marketing. And so we have one card that is just a marketing card, and we put whatever on there and we get massive amounts of points. Yeah. It's optimizing based on where you are in life and what you're doing and what you're doing with the card. Mm-hmm. All right. And it doesn't matter what card, like the things we're telling you, it worked for any type of situation. Like you should always be asking for the credit increases. You should be monitoring your credit. Why? Because the more credit you have, the more you can get done. Dave, what else you have on this?
Yeah, besides you asking for credit limit increases, I think, and you brought up a good point of them automatically doing it. One of the reasons that they automatically do it is because of what you have either registered information or updated. And I think a lot of people sleep on this. I actually just did one for, I don't know, one of my cards. I forget which one. It might have been like a PNC card or something that I had, but they'll reach out to you once a year to request income and your mortgage expense. And sometimes that could change. Sometimes you pay off a mortgage. Sometimes if you rent, right, like mortgage, that cost could change. Bless you. It could either be an increase or decrease, right? So now if they're asking for income, a lot of times, bless you, that you put down an increase. And when you put these things down, they're going to use it in their system. Most of this, all this stuff's automated anyway. They're not having really a human look at it. So unless it's a request or something like that. But if you're updating your income and your rental / mortgage payments every year in there, that's another way to get an increase too that I don't think people realize is keeping your information current in your accounts.
Dude, I didn't even know that. That's a good one.
Yeah, man. And you don't need the request to do it. Bless you, brother.
Thank you. And guys, it's not verified either. Like when you're applying for credit cards, just keep in mind, none of that is verified.
Yeah, but don't put in there that you're making $1 billion a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, be realistic. Like if you're applying, hey, yeah, I make 250, I make 500. For the most part, unless you do something to trick up the algorithm, it's Tom, I would watch your mouth. Okay, honestly, you're here as a guest. We're trying to teach you information, and you're spouting off because you wouldn't talk like that if you were in front of us, right? Because I'd punch your teeth down your throat. Seriously. All right. Like who do you think you're talking to? Actually, get rid of you, trash bag. Anyway, dude, what is with people? I've like the entitlement. What are we talking about? Sorry, dude. That just drives me crazy.
Yeah, income verification.
Yeah. You can put on whatever you want to put on. You know what I mean? And just be smart about it and build your credit in a way that you every year you get a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. Then when opportunities come up, right, or emergencies come up, you're ready to go. Yeah. All right. And you capitalize on it. Like every time there's a uptrend in the market or downtrend, there's a way to make money off of that.
Yeah.
You just have to position yourself and your investments and your company in the right manner. Having the credit is a big part of that.
Yeah. And there's some smart other strategies too, as you're increasing credit in general. I always say get to that point to where you have at least 6 figures in limits total, right? And you don't have to have it on one card, but have it total. If you're in a very good disposition, I think the stigma of 800 credit scores and all that, like as a flex, that just tells me you're not really utilizing it. And what I mean by that is if you're in 6 figures and if there's something you can leverage right away without having high utilization, some of these 0% offers that they give where they'll put the cash straight into your bank account, man. So if you have 150 or 200,000 in limits, and if you need 30 grand to invest in right away, you're not going to ding your credit utilization that bad. It's not 30 grand out of 200,000 in limits doesn't look terrible. No. 30 grand out of 50, that's a different story. So if you have that leverage for 12 to 18 months, obviously know what you're doing. Just don't do it to do it, right? Like reverse engineer that. That's another good way. You're paying the finance charge. Typically at most it's 5%. So if you borrow 30K, it's what, like $1,500? You know what I mean? So like you're not getting killed on that. And then just besides increasing, get a mixture, right? Like, yeah, I get it. If you don't have an auto loan, I'm not saying go buy a car to have an installment piece. There are self lenders out there that get your rent reported as well if you don't have a mortgage, because you guys are leaving up to 10% more of a score increase by not having a mixture of credit on there.
I love it, dude. That's a good one. I'm going to leave it at that because, man, we dropped a lot here, guys. Put this stuff into play. All right. Makes a big difference. Catch you on Mindset Monday. Take care.
Be great, y'all.